board to order on Monday, October 18th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Please join me in saluting the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record show all selectmen are present. Consent agenda warrant number 9, 9/27/2021. Number 10, 9/27/2021. Number 12, 9/27/2021. Payroll register number 39, 9/30/2021. Number 40. Must be 9/7/2021 again, right? Or 10/7, 10/7/2021. And number 41, 10/14/21.
Make the motion to accept the warrants and the payroll.
I have a motion and a second to accept the warrant and payroll registers as read. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Central Maine Power Pole Permit on the Russell Road.
CMP needs you to sign off. They're going to move a pole and I think install another pole about a half mile on our side of the Skowhegan town line.
For a motion.
Motion to accept the permit.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second to allow CMP to have a pole permit for the Russell Road. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries.
I see. I was waiting for that.
Put a little extra.
I was waiting for that.
Letter D, acceptance of the meeting minutes from September 27th, 2021.
Move to accept.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes from September 27th, 2021. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Old business, Mr. Moody?
Done, sir.
Mr. Mentor?
Done.
Mrs. Wyatt?
Nothing.
And Mr. Gopian?
Nothing.
Okay, items of communication, Mr. Town Manager?
So last week I spoke with the chair about maybe rescheduling the November meeting schedule. Right now you're scheduled to meet on November 8th and then on November 22nd. Now the 22nd is the week of Thanksgiving and I will not be here. So I would recommend that maybe we change that and meet on the 15th of November and then on the 29th of November. And if that fits with everybody's schedule, that's my hope and recommendation. At a previous meeting, the board asked to look into some costs associated with the bridge cemetery. Tammy told me earlier today that she's gotten some quotes back, one in particular from Mike Ricker, to cut all the trees that are encroaching in on the edge of the cemetery. So Mike's quote just to cut the trees was about $4,150. And that doesn't include stumping it all out. So, you know, again, I think the idea, the direction is that we want to try to remove those trees, get the stumps out so that the caretaker can continue to mow to keep those areas from encroaching in on it. So she's got a couple other quotes coming in. But just, we'll have to dedicate some time to talk about this as we get closer to the budget season because it's probably going to take a substantial amount of money, not only for that cemetery, but some of the other work that we have to do with other cemeteries to get that process going. And you have to figure out how much you want to commit to that in one tax year. There have been some requests and concerns regarding the playground on Main Street, that green and blue merry-go-round. The bearings have come loose again. It just comes from overuse. And so it can be dangerous now. So I've asked the road commissioner if his crew could take a look at removing that this fall. And we'll just leave it for the winter. And then I would like to recommend installing a climbing piece there instead. I think we've learned from our playground experience that adults love to use the motion stuff and it just wears them out fast. We've lost a teeter-totter and a merry-go-round, so let's just replace it with climbing things instead of spinning things. And then just a couple of community events that are going forward. There's going to be a trunk or treat for kids car side. So they're going to do like they did last year up at the business park. So instead of kids walking, they can come in their parents' car, up to the business park, and there'll be other businesses that have their vehicles decorated and giving out candy and so forth. And then plans are on for the Christmas parade on Saturday, December 4th, with fireworks and a chance to see Santa, but not in the library. That'll be outside, hopefully weather permitting. So that's what's going on.
All right, thank you. All right, department head reports. We have the sheriff's report, and we have the fire department's report. Any questions on those?
I would like to make a comment on the fire department report, and we've got a couple other department head issues to get to, and of course the road commissioner's here. But in regards to talking with the fire chief, Don French, he and I have been talking about looking for a used fire truck to replace our 1991 tanker. As you're probably aware, we've been trying to write grants for this every year for the last 5 years, and we just don't seem to get anywhere close. So at town meeting, the voters authorized setting aside $150,000. The intention was you do 150, you start to build out what you want for a fire truck and find out how much that difference is, and then come to town meeting and ask for the difference and build the truck out. That, as we found with plow trucks and other pieces of equipment, that is becoming exceedingly expensive, topping $400,000 now for a new truck. So what Don and I have talked about is there are all sorts of sources online where you can look for used vehicles, used fire trucks within the mid-Atlantic region, Virginia, Pennsylvania, that area. Just to give you an example, he found one in Pennsylvania that he showed me. It's a 2008. It has all the equipment that they're looking for, and it's $175,000. Now, when he has the opportunity to buy something used and he and his firefighters think it's the right one, I'd like for him to have the ability to act quickly, because everybody's in the market for these used vehicles, and if he has to wait till town meeting, chances are he's not going to be able to get the additional money. So we have money from the ARPA funds that we have that can be dedicated towards capital purchases. So what Don and I talked about, what he wanted me to ask you, and I agree with him, is if you can kind of give him the go-ahead to start looking at these things and then come back to you to act quickly and say, I can get this one for 175. I've got 150. I just need to take 25 out of the ARPA funds. It's there. It's in the bank. It's available. And so I just wanted to get the board's feedback on that. Is that something that you'd rather him do? Or would you rather raise the money from taxation for a full-blown brand new vehicle? So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Comments?
I think the amount of miles and hours those are run, I think secondhand is the best bet for the money.
Still go.
Do we have to have a custom built one? I don't know, what's the difference between like a second-hand one, which used, or one right off the lot, like we all buy our trucks and cars and everything right off the lot? We don't
No,
necessarily.
they're not sitting on the lot waiting. You go in and you tell them how you want
Oh, you tell
all
them,
your
and that's
gauges
where you have to
and
get it?
yeah,
Custom?
every detail.
You write the specs out.
Right.
So
And
if
that's
he
one
likes,
reason why they cost so much.
so if he likes what he sees in a truck that matches the
Right.
specifications that he wants, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't do it. So
Is this, is somebody gonna go look at these trucks and check these trucks
Right.
out? They ain't gonna just,
No, they're not going to buy them sight unseen.
Yeah.
So Don has the time available to him that he could travel to, New York, Pennsylvania, that sort of thing. Of course, the town would pay for his mileage and so forth. If he doesn't use the town vehicle, he has that vehicle available to do that. And so he would be the one, and probably he'd take a couple people with him just to check it out.
I hope he takes a knowledgeable mechanic with him and not just another firefighter.
Right.
So that, this truck can be looked over very well.
I think we did a pretty good job with the emergency truck that we bought, so,
Yeah.
and I think,
That's what's kind of encouraged us. And this
yep,
one that he showed me today, the two key specs that they're looking for is a 3,000 gallon tank and a 1,250 gallon per minute pump. And that's better than what we have right now on that 1991 model. And that's what they've decided. So if they were to build one brand new, those are the two key specs that they'd want. And that's where your cost goes in.
What do you do with the 91? You put it up for sale? I mean, put it up to...
Right. It was our intention if we bought a brand new one that the manufacturer would offer us a trade-in price. But we would do the same thing that many other departments do. We just put it out there for sale and see if anybody would be interested in it. So.
So, explain to me how this is gonna work. He's gonna find something that's gonna come to us to get authorization to spend that kind of money?
So he's already got 150,000 that town meeting has said you can spend.
Yeah, I understand that.
So if he finds something for 200, he's gonna come to you and say, can I get 50,000 out of the ARPA funds that we've set aside for this? And then you would authorize that, and similar to the same way we did the emergency vehicle. We pulled some from capital, we pulled some from TIF, and you authorized that, and he went and got it done.
So now, I mean, we're looking December, January, I mean, we're looking next week.
He's looking now. I mean, there's a couple of people that are a little more adept at the computer thing on his team that are looking all the time at fire trucks. But just like used cars right now, you find something online, you make a phone call, it's like, well, we sold that 2 days ago. So, but he just needs that flexibility to move quickly.
So I guess I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna give him that flexibility. I mean, you can spend up to 50,000 more.
So if you want to give him, if you want to take a motion so that he has that already with an up to amount, that certainly would make it, that much more expedited.
Because we're gonna meet again in a couple of weeks, but once we get into November, we're gonna be.
You'll have 2 meetings in November, 1 in December, right?
Those two are gonna be late though, in November.
Right.
I mean, it's gonna be the 15th and the 29th, so.
Yeah.
There's one more this month, right? Or is it,
This is the only meeting in October.
okay, so we're not gonna meet again until the 15th of November, so.
Right.
If he finds something,
Yeah.
are we comfortable giving up to $50,000 out of the opera fund?
How much is in it?
In the ARPA budget,
For,
we've allocated for capital 160,000.
What's the cutoff gonna be?
like 150 plus 50.
So
That would be
200. Yeah,
Are we comfortable with that?
no more, I'm comfortable with that, but I wouldn't be comfortable with more than that.
I thought 175 was good.
Well, I mean, you gotta give them more room to play with.
Yeah. But I mean, if you found one,
Right.
So do we need a motion to do that?
That would be good. That way we'd have something in the minutes.
I'll make a motion that we give him authorization of up to 200,000.
Up to 50.
Up to, well.
50 from
right,
ARPA.
Yeah,
50
the other is already there.
Right,
All right, we have a motion.
She just made a motion.
Yep.
I'll second that.
All right, now we have a second. So we have a motion and a second to take up to $50,000 from the ARPA fund to purchase a fire truck.
Yep.
A used fire truck. At the town manager and fire chief's discretion. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you. So after the road commissioner, Kathy has something, and then I have something for code enforcement.
Okay. All right, road commissioner.
Well, you guys have rode around town and all the capital paving projects have gotten done. Russell Road was done last Friday. Lucas striping will be up hopefully sometime this week to get them striped. It will be the whole length of all those roads, Preble Avenue, Russell Road, and the Golf Course Road. Not all of the town roads, just those 3 that have been paved. Getting ready for some winter projects, getting some plow gear going, got some calcium ordered, getting the garage prepped for the natural gas boiler to be installed the week of November 8th from Bob's Cash Fuel. The crew's been working on that. Not having very good luck finding any winter help. We're 2 guys short. So if you guys know, if anyone knows that be interested in plowing some snow for the month of November through April, would be kind of nice. I've handed out quite a few applications. One got returned with an interview that we did last week, and he took another job as a gas propane guy instead of a plow truck guy. The sign has the sign up to the playground. There's been a Class B operator on there for almost a week now with absolutely no response. So if you know of anybody, send them up.
I know you guys already thought of this probably, but if we found any ads in the newspaper, I mean, in the Morning Sentinel, I mean.
Probably the next step would to do some online ads. We wanted to start with people that we knew or Jeff knew, and then move out to the sign and then out a little bit further and further just to see what comes to.
Online, I don't,
But like Indeed and that sort of thing.
nothing, I mean, we want, probably would be somebody local, I mean, we wouldn't wanna get into,
I know, that's right.
because anytime you put those things up there, you're gonna get a guy from Massachusetts who doesn't even know where.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
It creates a headache.
Yeah.
Do you have an age limit on your application? Because I know 2 former road commissioners that still have their licenses.
Yeah. So if you know of anyone, please send them around. It'd be awful nice. We're not the only town in this situation. Skelligan's short a person. I believe Norwalk short 1. Anson short 1. Fairfield is short 3. Winslow, everybody's looking for a person or 2.
Larry's coming back.
Pardon?
Larry's coming back.
Larry is coming back, yes. He was up to the garage today.
Good.
Yeah. Any questions?
Man,
Yeah,
now how much you pay. I can see it coming right now.
Are these other towns doing anything for an incentive or anything?
I got a road commissioners meeting in the Wednesday morning. I'm going to ask around to see what they're doing to get people, but they have upped their pay considerably to match some of their full-time guys that have been there for a long time. And I don't believe anybody's playing an incentive. I know the state is paying a payout bonus again at the end of the year. If you stay the season to April 1st, I believe they're giving, I think it was $2,000 at the end of the season if you stay. And that was including all their full-time people, not just the ones that they hire for the winter. But when I go to the meeting on Wednesday morning, I'll see who's doing what and see what kind of luck anybody's having getting some people.
And how much was salt this year?
Salt was $52 a ton, yeah. Liquid calcium had gone up a couple pennies. I believe it's up to $1.13 now a gallon.
At least that hasn't shot up yet.
No, it went up a couple pennies. It was, I believe it was 110 last year and 108 the year before, I believe. But most of that, according to the salesman, was transportation cost.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so we have,
So Kathy Estes has joined us by Zoom to maybe give you a brief election update, election season, but she has a request of you as well. Go ahead, Kathy.
So, yeah, this election is a slow election. We haven't had many absentee voting. There have been some new people that have come down to register to vote. But basically, I am requesting that normally during every election, I have to have registrar hours from at least 2 hours past my normal hours, and they have to be some evening during the week, like I think it's 7 days prior to an election. So I just don't anticipate and lots of times I don't, even on busy elections, I don't get a lot of people to come down to do that. So I'm just requesting that maybe I need permission from the select board, but to not have those hours for this election. It's kind of, I will be down there. I'm pretty sure by myself that nobody will come in to register to vote. That happens frequently, but I didn't know that I could have those hours unavailable with the selectmen's permission in the past. I had gone to a recent training and I really picked up on that this time, that if, as long as the selectmen say that, you know, I don't have to have hours that I'm not required to. I will have to notify residents, most likely by a newspaper, which I would have to do a newspaper ad anyways to say that I'm gonna have open register hours for the evening. This time it would just say that I will not have hours available in the evening. They can come down to register to vote every day, Monday through Friday, and of course on election day. So that's what I would like to have.
So if I understand what Kathy's asking for, she needs a action from the board to eliminate the requirement for just this year for after-hours voter registration. So it wouldn't be permanent, right, Kathy? You'd have to do it every
No.
year.
I would have to do it every time before every election. I would have to come before you to ask for that. I can't just do it all the time. And this is just for this one election right now.
Okay.
How does this change what you have been doing? How is the hours changing from what to what?
So traditionally, a week before election day, the registrar is required to be open until 6. Is that right, Kathy?
But I have to have at least 2 hours because, so I'm usually, and they have to be in the evening, so I usually do 5 to 7.
Okay. So that's what she's asking to eliminate. So she won't have a night that she's here trying to register people to vote from 5 to 7 and nobody shows up.
So 4 o'clock is gonna be the cutoff, is that what you're saying?
Right.
Correct.
5 o'clock.
4 o'clock, because right now the election room here is open every weekday from 8 to 4.
The only thing that's different is I normally would have to have registration hours from 5 to 7. I have to have it for 2 hours, one evening a week prior to the election. But I just don't normally have that many, and this election is a slow election. I don't anticipate I would have people. I'm not trying to, I mean, either way, I'm not trying to eliminate it, and of course, people can vote, register to vote on election day. That's always available.
Rudy?
Are we going to anticipate any repercussion from the workforce?
I guess I don't understand that.
Working people get out of work at 4. Are they gonna complain they don't have a chance to come in and register, except on voting day?
I don't anticipate that.
Okay,
That's really why I'm asking, is usually I anticipate I'm gonna have the voter registration hours open from 5 to 7, and I'm not gonna have anybody show up. That happens quite frequently. So, and I haven't had any phone calls, like, another thing that, like with the last presidential election, I did have phone calls from people asking, do you have any evening hours? And I haven't had.
What time,
Okay.
what time does she start here? 8?
8 in the morning till 4, Monday through Friday.
If we have another call, if people are gonna come in, it hasn't been, we aren't getting overrun like the presidential election.
Prior to that, and this is why I agree with her, you look at it year to year. And last year was so different because you had all this extended time, and now that's become the norm, that you have this extended time to vote. So people have 30 days to come in and get, take a day off or leave work early or go on their lunch. And so these extended hours probably aren't gonna generate anything.
And we come back next year, 2 years from now with the governor election.
Right.
We might have to have that
Exactly.
time, so.
So it's just the one time.
All right, looking for a motion, I guess. And I think Kathy's frozen.
She's moving now.
All right, do I see a motion?
Make a
Mr.
motion.
Gilpin?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, nothing.
I make motion, that she can skip those 2 hours from 5 to 7 this year.
And I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to allow the town clerk to not, would it be town clerk? What role would that be?
It would be the town clerk.
Town clerk not to have evening hours for the 2 hours in the evening for elections registrations. Any other questions?
This year, right?
This year, yes,
Right.
this year.
Just this one election, actually.
Yep. Okay. All right, no other questions, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Is that it?
Only other thing under department head reports, I just wanted to report that the code officer, Amos Mishu, has been on the job for the month of October. He's doing well. He's taking stuff off of my plate, which is very helpful to me. And he took the state certification to be a health officer. And if you recall, when you make your appointments, you appoint a code officer, a licensed plumbing inspector, and the health officer is a 3-year position. So Leo Mayo was appointed as health officer in 2020, good through 2023. But I would like to recommend that you appoint Amos Mishu to be the health officer to finish out that term for Leo, because Amos is going to be in the office and Leo will not. So I would need a motion to that effect. And
You already got it?
he got the certification, he got it in early October, so he's certified by the state.
Put an X there, I'll sign it.
You gotta find your name.
All right.
So
Making that motion, Mr.?
A motion to adjourn. That's you want, you got it.
I'll make a motion that we have Amos,
Either.
I'm sorry, his last name?
Amos Mishu is
Amos
health
Mishu
officer.
As health officer.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to appoint Amos Mishu as health officer. All those in favor? All in favor, motion carries. All right, number 2, discuss funding matching grant award for Buzzy's Barbershop.
So back in August, the board awarded a grant, matching grant to Buzzy to replace the windows and do some upgrades to his storefront on Main Street. He has paid for that work, and I believe I saw some work being done last week at his shop. And so he has submitted his invoices that he paid with proof of payment. And so I am recommending that you authorize payment from the ARPA funds for $3,796.62. That would be 50% of what he paid.
You said what the number was again?
379662.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we paid Buzzy for the matching grant.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second to pay the matching grant to Buzzy's Barbershop, Brim and Buzzle, $3,796.62. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you.
First quarter budget review.
So your first sheet that's landscaped this way in your packet is the revenue totals through the first quarter. Everything seems to be on track, even though we kind of increased what we anticipated to get from things like excise tax from people registering their vehicles. That still seems to be moving at the pace we expected it to. Maine revenue sharing, is a little bit ahead of schedule, which is substantial. We'll get our Betty reimbursement probably December, January. Homestead exemption, we usually get about 70 to 80% of it in one payment, and then they pay the rest at the end of the year. I'm pleased to say that taxes are being collected right on pace. Most everybody has paid their first half taxes. Personal property taxes, at the end of September, we were running a little behind, and that's because 3 fairly large personal property tax bills had not been paid yet. And I'm pleased to say they've all been paid, so we are actually well above 50% of our personal property tax as well. So income year to date is where we wanted it to be. You see down there at the bottom our unpaid 2020 taxes. Those are the ones that were most recently liened as 103 accounts. And then the unpaid 2019 taxes, those are the ones that will head to foreclosure in February. And currently there's about 49 accounts. I just pause here to ask for kind of if the board wants to talk about this now or set up a time to talk about it later. When we were foreclosing on accounts last year, there was some discussion amongst the board as to what we do after we foreclose. So now you have 49 accounts heading towards foreclosure, which is very typical. It'll get to Christmas time, then January, then February. Kathy will send out her foreclosure notices in January, giving folks a 30, 45-day notice that if they don't pay, they're going to be foreclosed on. I will try my best to find people that maybe we can't find. And do a visit to their house to see if they're there, see if they've abandoned the property, whatnot. But if that foreclosure date comes and goes, what do you want the approach from the town to be? Because I want to be able to warn people ahead of time. Because there are people, and you all know that there are people every year that wait till the very last minute to pay these taxes, and sometimes they miss it by a day or two, assuming that the selectmen will just let them pay that amount that was due on the 19th to come out of foreclosure. But once that trips over into foreclosure, then it's up to your discretion as to what you do with it. So is there any changes or any ideas or approaches that you want to take?
Yeah, I'd still like to see pay all 3 years.
So a complete payback.
Right.
And that's really helpful for me when I have to go make phone calls and knock on doors to say, the direction of the selectmen is that if you miss this date, then you're going to be required to pay all of it to get your property back. So does that sound fair? Or at least that's the message you want me to portray?
Right now, we have, according to this, we have $161,000.
That's unpaid taxes, right?
Right.
Right. That includes the 20s and the 19s, yep.
Mhm.
So, right now, we have a system where you can pay the third year out.
You pay the 219.
So, right now, and we've done this in the past where I would bring you a list of people that the time has gone by. They say there's 8 or 10 people on there. And I finally got in touch with them all, but the foreclosure date's gone by. In the past, we would allow them just to pay that 2019 amount, and then the clerk would write a quitclaim deed and you would sign it and they'd have their property back. But we also use our discretion, because town meeting gives the select board the discretion to deal with town tax acquired property in the manner they best deem fit. So if we've got someone that's, let their property just go to disrepair, we've decided, okay, we're not going to allow that one to go back. We did that last year with the property out on Lakewood Road. If we have a person that is perpetual in not paying their taxes, their electric bill, their sewer bill, their water bill, we can hold that out and say you pay everything and then you get your property back. So if we want to take a stance that we're going to require everybody to pay all 3 years back, I need to know that so I can warn people ahead of time, because Kathy's letter by the law doesn't say that. The letter clearly says if you don't pay your taxes by this day, you will lose your property. So, and in the past, we've allowed people to take their property back just by paying off the lien, because that's really what you're doing, is you're paying off that lien.
That's gonna be a tough stance.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a tough stance, but I'm willing to give it a whirl.
If piece of this property is tied up in kind of an estate dispute. Should we, under special circumstances, should we allow some latitude or stick right with what we are, where we are?
Well, we don't have any latitude on the due date,
No.
because the due date is set. And it's the day that lien matures, so we can't move the date. And that's why I'd like to try to get in touch with as many of these people. I've looked at this list of 49 people. I know 99% of these people. So getting a hold of these folks won't be that difficult.
So there shouldn't be anyone who's in an estate dispute or something unusual.
Right, not that I'm aware of, and if there is, that doesn't stop the foreclosure process. So whatever attorney is dealing with that dispute needs to make sure those taxes are paid. And usually attorneys, banks, trusts, they make sure the taxes are paid because they know they'll lose it if they don't. Thank you for that direction. I'm sure we'll talk more about this, but I want to kind of allow that weight to be on these phone calls and visits that I make to encourage these people to pay their taxes.
Well, they're also gonna have to come up with this money. I mean, it's not gonna be.
Only if they allow it to go in foreclosure. So up until that day, they can pay the 19 taxes and they don't suffer any consequences.
Okay, so we're talking when it goes in foreclosure.
Once it goes beyond that,
Okay.
right, right,
Right.
Just once they miss the date, basically.
right.
And
And
we can legally do that, right?
once they miss the date, then it becomes your responsibility as a select board because the property now belongs to the town of Madison. That's why every one of those quitclaim deeds says the inhabitants of the town of Madison. So that's who you're signing
And
for.
we're following everything that was passed by the governor, the
Right.
wage.
There are stipulations
For
for,
elderly and
Right.
and veterans and things like that.
not so much for trusts, but there are stipulations for people that are over a certain age that the town can't sell their property.
Mhm.
Now, the town may still require them to pay everything to redeem it, but again, you want to be able to be communicating this to people before that February drop dead date. Any questions about revenues? Thank you for that side note on taxes. The other items in your packet have to do with expenses through the first quarter. Everything should be right around 25%, and most all of these articles are hitting that 25% range, with the exception of recreation, which is typical because we spend a lot of money in recreation in July and August for the programs. This year they did more. We had more students working and they offered more things for recreation, kind of a way of making up for not having it much last year. So we have spent pretty heavy there, and we've also done a lot of work at the Preble Avenue facility. So that's a little bit higher. Every other article is right around that 25% or less. Now that road commissioner mentioned a lot of the road surface work is done, that number will jump up a little bit. But overall, we're at 24.29%, 3 months in. That's kind of where we should be. Any questions? The only other thing I'll mention is I just got a chance to review the audit for last year, the year that ended June 30th. And as we would have expected, because we took in more revenues and in that budget year we didn't use any money from fund balance, we have a healthy fund balance coming up that we can use when the assessors set the tax commitment. So that's a good thing.
All right. Select board concerns, Mr. Moody.
None, sir.
Mr. Manta?
None, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Gopi?
None.
Ms. Dwyer? Seeing none, citizens? Concerns? Seeing none, looking for a motion to adjourn, Mr. Moody.
So moved.
I got a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Adjourn at 7:09.